it's not technically beer o'clock because it's sort of 17:28 on a Wednesday.
Apparently, technically, beer o'clock is 5:48 every day.
Every day.
Yeah, there's been some scientific work done around that. So somewhere, seriously, somewhere there is a study been done that is 5:48.
So the average clocking off time 5:15.
Yeah.
That gives you what 10 minutes to get geared together, and then you're off down the road to the local boozer.
Yeah.
5:48 first.
5:48.
Great.
First beer o'clock.
So why is beer o'clock 6 o'clock, not 5:48?
Because we started before we found the 5:48 fact out, and because most of our stuff is, especially the stuff that promotes the podcast, it's all pre-scheduled on Hootsuite. You can't do 5:48.
You're being clever.
You can do 5:45 or 5:50. So
neither of those are beer o'clock.
No, it's in the middle of the two of them. So no, we've stuck with 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. So Beerhund. Let's start with the U on the Twitter sphere.
Yes.
Where did that come from as a name?
It was an evolution of a number of things. Right. There was a previous name which misbehaved, so it needed to get changed to the new name, and it was just I don't know. It was just a combination of my love for beer and no love for dogs whatsoever. It was just.
What's your least favourite dog?
All of them.
Just an omni dog.
I'm not a fan of dogs.
I hate dogs.
Yeah. So I think originally I was probably going for Beerhound, but right. I imagine somebody already had that. So I went for Beerhund.
It is typical. Twitter.
Yeah.
All these people taking all the good names.
I know. If you weren't there at the beginning, you were out straight away.
Yeah. I was on Twitter in 2007 when it launched, that sort of thing, but I didn't utilise it to any relevant effect.
Yeah.
And then I ended up deleting my old accounts, and now they would have been really useful.
Exactly. All those people that there at the start that snapped up things like Boots and Sainsbury's and then sold them back to them. They're just sitting back now in their mansions, laughing it up, aren't they?
They're thinking, this is it.
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah, let's watch for the next big thing and buy all the names up from there.
Names.
Yeah,
just all of them really.
Yeah.
I mean, Boots and Sainsbury's are good examples of names of large corporate organisations who now have official Boots.
Yeah.
Twitter.com/Boots, I imagine. Yes. Other chemists are available. So, beer o'clock show. We've worked out the 6 o'clock element. So you launch your podcast 6 p.m. Fridays.
Yes.
Which is the international beer o'clock, you'd say. Friday night.
As dictated by us. Yeah,
right.
It's
a regime.
It is. It's beer. It's not beer o'clock until we say so, and until our podcast is out. It's not beer o'clock. People can't start drinking.
It's good to have a system.
Yeah.
If you don't have systems, what happens? Just carnage.
Try to impose it on others as well. So.
And technically, it's always 6 o'clock somewhere.
It's always 6 o'clock somewhere.
Always 6 o'clock.
Yeah. So
technically, for us, our time is coming. Yeah, I mean, it's as a show and as a concept, it's continuously growing. Where did it come from? Where the original concept of beer o'clock and the podcast, or did it previously exist before podcast?
I'm not sure. I think it came from a number of places actually. I think I've always had an interest in beer, as I think most people probably have at some stage in various forms, and I used to get together with a friend from up north. We'd get together occasionally, and he would bring northern beers and I'd bring southern beers, and we'd just drink and we'd talk about the beers, and it never really went any further than that. That was just social drinking. And then about 3 years ago, I was stood in a queue for a Foo Fighters gig.
Good place to be.
Yeah, bear with me on this one. There is some relevance, and I try, as I do, because I'm a fairly chatty person. I was there on my own. My friend wasn't there yet, and I tried to start engaging the guy in front of me in some conversation.
So it wasn't any queue. We're talking about a queue for the bar, right?
No, we were queuing to get into the gig.
So this is an important part of the anecdote, is to work out where the queue was.
But it was outside the venue.
Right, okay.
Early in the afternoon, because it was one of these iTunes festivals where it was kind of giveaway tickets.
So it was
it was at the Roundhouse. Foo Fighters at the Roundhouse, 3,000 people.
Stunning.
Best gig I've ever been to.
I watched it on the TV.
Yeah, I was in the front row. Actually got to touch Dave's sweaty hair.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Which hand?
This one. I have washed it.
For an audio podcast, that's your right hand.
That's my right hand, yes. It doesn't work. I still don't get that, even now. Visual stuff doesn't work on podcasts.
So you're in the queue.
So we're in the queue, and I'm trying to engage the guy in front of me in conversation. He's having none of it. He's having absolutely none of it. His wife comes back, starts chatting to him, and then she starts talking to me.
Okay.
It then transpires that apparently he had said to her, some fucking random nutter trying to talk to me in the queue, don't talk to him, and then she started chatting to me, and he was like, what are you doing? So then basically, to cut a very long story short, the guy that I was trying to talk to was Mark, who I co-host the podcast with. We then became friends as a result of the gig, did a few festivals, and then out of nowhere randomly started saying to me, would you like to do a podcast? And I was like, no, I'm a little bit concerned about how I might come across, that sort of thing. So he pitched a few ideas to me, to which I said no to all of them. And then he eventually said, well, I'm always seeing you on Twitter drinking all these different exotic beers, and I really like the sounds of what you're doing. Let's do a podcast about beer. And I was like, okay, I'm willing to give that a go. I'm willing to give that a try. So I think, in all honesty, that the pair of us probably didn't think we'd ever do more than 10 episodes of the Beer O'Clock show. The first episode that we did came out the week of the London Olympics opening ceremony.
Fantastic.
And if you listen back to that first episode, it's around 25 minutes of us rambling on for about 24 minutes talking about the opening ceremony, and for a minute actually talking about the beer, because we didn't really know what we were doing. And we've just grown from there. So we kind of started off drinking what you'd consider your supermarket staples, so beers that you can find on any supermarket shelf. And gradually we've started crossing into the more kind of exotic and sort of craft beer territory, where beers are more exclusive. You can't buy them from the supermarket, you have to buy them from online retailers or specialist beer shops, that sort of thing. So, and as our tastes have grown and our palates have grown, we've found that the number of followers on Twitter has grown, the number of listeners of the show has grown, and the time that we put into preparing each show has just grown as well.
So 2,333, it's not a bad listener or follower count.
No, pretty pleased with that.
On Jesus.
Just a few more, yeah.
Don't quote me on that. We might have had loads. It's just not documented anyway.
No.
But, yeah,
Twitter wasn't around in those days, was it?
It just wasn't. He could have had Sainsbury's.
Yeah, he could have done.
What a dick. What was he thinking? But did you find that very quickly picked up as the episodes were going out? Because we spoke earlier, you mentioned about seasons. So you put out how many episodes per season on average?
We do.
Series? Is it season for a reason? That's a rhyme. Or is it why is season not series? That's just for me.
It was season because that's what Mark started calling it. Mark's originally from Australia, so I'm guessing they're seasons more than series. So
how many episodes per season?
Between 12 and 14, dependent. 14. 12.
So how many episodes per season?
It varies. We generally go September to December.
Okay.
We take a month off in January, just to, because I've always done this thing of I go dry in January, so I don't drink any beer. Last year I did it for cancer research, the whole triathlon thing, raised a little bit of money. So I like to take a month off the beer, and then we'll go from Feb till June or July, and we'll take the summer off. So generally that kind of spring summer season is longer, and the winter season is a bit shorter.
Does that have an impact on the types of things you're covering? So I mean, a seasonality within the podcast?
Sometimes, because I mean, obviously during the summer when it's supposedly warm, it's nice to drink the more refreshing beers that are going to give you more of a crisp finish, that sort of thing, and in the winter you're looking for more of the warming beers, more of your porters, your stouts, that sort of thing. But we're pretty much open to drinking whatever brewers send to us.
That's an interesting point. So I mean, How quickly did that grow? That you're now receiving, because I need to crack on with this. I need some free stuff. I'm not getting anything out of this podcasting thing. I'm not benefiting. All I'm doing is creating a massive problem for later on in life, and probably people that listen I won't be recruited by in the future as a result of my horrific comedy. But for you guys, how quickly did it transpire that? One, you're growing an audience, but two, actually, you're getting organisations or businesses or brewers, or the small, some of the large ones perhaps, sending them your products to talk about.
I think we started to get a whiff of it in the very first season that we did, because we started reaching out to breweries and saying, we're doing a podcast, do you want to send us some beer? We very rapidly got a lot of no's, but we saw as we began to grow and we were getting more followers and we were able to begin to demonstrate the number of listeners, you go to a brewery with that sort of information and all of a sudden they start seeing, well, actually that's free marketing for us and free advertising for us. So I'd say probably midway through season 2, towards the end of season 2 into the beginning of season 3, we started to get more breweries being willing to send us stuff. And then that's now kind of grown to a point where we get the odd brewery approach us and say, can we send you our beer?
Excellent.
Which is the point that we wanted to get to. Now, we're very clear to a brewery that just because they've given us free beer doesn't mean they're going to get a good review. They're not buying a good review from us. What we say is we'll be honest with our review. We'll tell people exactly what we're tasting and exactly what we think of it, but it's not a guaranteed good review. So
how's that gone down with the different sort of?
I think it's what they expect.
Good.
It's absolutely what they expect from the community, because the community that we're in, there are thousands of people that blog about beer. There are thousands of video reviewers. It's not so many podcasters, but it's a big community.
Yeah.
And these breweries, they have a budget for sending out the free stuff, and I've especially found more recently, because this season we've been doing a Breweries of London series where I've actually been going out and interviewing the brewers, because I think at the last count there's about 70 breweries in London now. I've visited about 12 of them, but as part of that they were quite willing to give me beer while I was there to take away to review on the show. And when we first approached them, first line of the email was, this is not a request for free beer. Explained to them what we wanted to do, and then just left it to a point of, if you want to give us something, give us it. If not, while I'm at the brewery, I'm quite happy to buy that from you.
So of the recent, back end of this current series, where do we sit at the moment? We've got slap bang, technically in the middle of summer.
Yep.
So we're about midway through the current series.
We've got about, I think we've got about 4 episodes left to record of this series. We're going to the middle of August, and then we'll take a break, and then we're doing a summer special.
Yes. Well, I was going to talk about the live show.
Oh, and the live show. So yeah, there's 2 things that we're planning over the summer. One is a collaboration, because in the beer world it's all about collaboration. Good. So breweries are always collaborating with one another. They're putting out joint beers, that sort of thing. We're actually doing a collaboration podcast in the middle of the summer with 11 PM Somewhere, which is an Irish podcast that reviews craft beer. And we're hoping to do something with Ian, who presents that, where he's going to come on our show and we're all going to review Irish beers, and then I'm going to send him a load of beers from London, and we're going to go on his show, and then we're all going to review London beers.
How did you come across those guys? Was it just, again, part of the community?
Just one day saw him pop up on Twitter, thought, I'm not following this guy, started following him, realised it was another podcast, started downloading his stuff. Listening to it, and as you do with podcasts, just started getting involved in the stuff that he was doing, so commenting on the posts that he was putting out and making comments and feeding back on the stuff that's within his podcasts.
So that one's at 11, literally.
Yeah.
1 PM somewhere.
Yeah.
What's your preference, 6 PM or 11 PM? It's a bit controversial.
Well, I think Ian's preference on his show is if you listen to his show, it's all about kicking out time. Whereas we're all about kicking off time.
Yeah. mean, there's definitely advantage to both.
I think so, yeah.
I think I ear towards the start of the gig, proverbial cue to get into the roundhouse, as opposed to being kicked out afterwards. So you've had a bloody good time. But yeah, I'm steering more towards the 6 p.m. thing. So the live show, where did that concept come from? Again, you've been speaking about it in the last. I think it was the last episode. If it wasn't the last one, it was the last couple. Almost sounds a bit, you're like, it's something really exciting to get involved in. You're not quite sure what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Are you getting further prepared? What's coming?
It's something that we've been playing around with the idea of it for a while now. We've always been playing around with this idea of calling it the lock-in. Okay. So the idea is, and I think the original idea was one Saturday night we'd go online and we'd pretty much just get pissed, and people could just watch us get pissed. So to which we very rapidly realised that there's probably not a great audience out there for that, to watch two blokes sitting on YouTube drinking their way into oblivion. So we played around with the concept a little bit, and we've now got this idea of doing this event called the Lock-In and it's going to be on Saturday the 6th of September at 9 o'clock. You'll be able to watch it on YouTube. It'll be Mark and I, and then a selected audience of other beer bloggers and home brewers, beer fans, that sort of thing. So Google Hangouts only allows you 10 places, I think, on this sort of thing. So we've had to kind of select the audience pretty carefully. But we've got people from London. We've got a few people from the north of England coming in. Ian's coming on from Ireland, and we've also got a guy coming on from the States as well. Excellent. So we've got quite a range of people. The whole thing's being supported by Thornbridge Brewery, who are giving us a box of beer that everybody around the virtual table will review as part of the evening. But essentially the idea is we'll start at 9 o'clock. We'll just start off drinking and chatting. We've got a few questions that we might throw in just to keep the conversation going. Then we'll get on and we'll do the group review of the beer. At that point, anybody that started with us is free to kind of drop off. We're also currently compiling a waiting list of people that might then just want to jump on and just drink with us. And that's the idea. So we'll probably just go for a couple of hours, just drinking beer and just chatting shit, probably.
Do you think you'll put it out as a sort of a compilation podcast?
No, we've said...
So you're going to keep it quite specific, just that YouTube one-off stream?
Yeah, we've said to the people that are coming on, because a few of them are a bit unsure about either appearing on video or being recorded for a podcast. We've said to them, we're not going to record it, we're just going to put it out. If anything, we might record it and put it on our YouTube channel so people can watch it back. But no, it's just something, we're just going to try and see if it works, and people will be able to get involved via Twitter. They can tweet us at Beer O'Clock Show using the hashtag Lock-In.
I was going to say hashtag, it had to have a hashtag.
Oh, it's always got to have a hashtag, yeah.
Hashtag Lock-In.
Yeah.
That's
so
worth investigating.
Yeah, it should be good fun actually. We're looking forward to it. Certainly the guys that are around the table are excited about it as well.
You mentioned America, which again we've spoken before. It's an incredible market regardless. Just the sheer volume of the product out there and the variety. Is that somewhere you'd consider, with the international appeal of podcasting? Do you do a lot of do you review for the American audience as well as the UK? I mean, how do you take that approach to your audience, I guess? Because it's picking up in America. Yeah,
I think it's probably fair to say that the craft beer scene in America is probably about 5 years ahead of where we are in Britain now. So they've already embraced it, and they're already sort of like blogging and podcasting and bits around it. It's quite difficult to cater for an American audience because I'm not sure the American audience wants Brits reviewing American beers. I think they quite like the idea of us reviewing British beers that maybe they can't get or maybe are more sought after in America. The problem with reviewing American beers, because we did a whole season that was devoted to US beers. The problem with doing them is the Americans tend to pack their beers full of hops. So to really amplify the flavour, and those beers are best drunk fresh. Now, even with the best will in the world, it's going to take a week to 2 weeks to get those beers to this country. In most instances, by the time they've arrived and they've gone onto a warehouse shelf or a shop and they've been bought online and got to you, they might be 2 or 3 months old, by which time all their flavour's gone. So what you end up essentially reviewing is an American beer that tastes like anything you could buy in a British supermarket. So it's very difficult to kind of, I suppose, crack that American audience. I think I mentioned earlier, we know about a fifth of our listeners come from the States, so we're obviously doing something that appeals to them. We get one guy regularly interacting with us, telling us how much he loves what we're doing, which is fantastic.
It's good to have a fan.
It's just the one. It's always good. Just the one
Send
American fan.
Send him a photo.
Yeah.
That won't go badly at all.
No.
Apparently.
No. Topless pictures of us drinking beer. Apparently, what he wants. I hear that's all the rage.
It's
these
all the rage
days.
in Europe.
Yeah.
I was going to come on to Europe because before we sort of discuss about sort of the UK sort of market, etc. How's the podcast going out there? Are you getting interest from across, especially Western Europe as well? I guess.
I don't think we're getting a massive amount. It's probably fair to say that podcast isn't just me.
Yeah.
It's me and Mark, who's on Twitter at Roku, which is ROKKU. Kill me if I didn't give him a mention during this interview. But he does all the technical side of things, so he tells me where our listeners are, and he's never mentioned Europe.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you say that beer culture of certain countries in Europe?
I think it's different. I think obviously in Germany there's a very strong beer culture that dates back many years. We're just not doing those sorts of beers on the show at the moment. So I don't think we've started really looking at the European market in terms next season that we're planning. The run from September to December, we're doing a feature on Italian beers,
okay.
so that might see us reach out into the Italian market a little bit. But we're getting no major stats from Europe at the moment.
So what was the catalyst, the first beer experience?
My
Beerhund, yeah.
My very first beer experience.
Let's go back.
How far back do you want to go?
To the first beer experience.
So I think like most youngsters growing up in London at the age of 15 or 16, it was probably a combination of Foster's and Thunderbird.
Chaser.
Yeah, probably mixed together in a glass, which probably wasn't my greatest.
Glasses. We didn't have glasses.
Actually, no, I don't think there were glasses. So yeah, that was probably the first actual, which was then rapidly followed up with a terrible experience on Strongbow one evening.
That's textbook.
Which I've never gone back to since then. I can't even go near the stuff now without feeling sick because of the smell. I think the first real beer experience was probably a few years back. I went to the Great British Beer Festival, which is a massive event held at Olympia every year. Yeah. Hundreds of beers on offer. Basically 5 days of people just getting pissed up in Olympia.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? So yeah, I went there and I just tried loads of beers because at sort of beer festivals you can buy the beers in thirds and it costs just over £1 for a third of a beer. So you actually end up getting through quite a lot of beer and in most instances getting very rapidly drunk as well in that time. But yeah, I think my first experience was there on a beer that was put out by Adnams, who are a fairly localish beer company, brewery. They're also known as
the beer guys.
Yes, those guys that run that big warehouse. Yeah. So Adnams Brewery, who are based up in Southwold, so they're fairly localish to me. Had one of their beers, a Ghost Ship, and that was a real kind of gateway moment for me in terms of realising that there was more to alcohol than fizzy yellow stuff that you buy that you can get in any pub. So that was probably my awakening, and then that was rapidly followed up at the same event. But I found myself in a queue for a limited edition beer.
It's all queuing, isn't it?
There's always queuing. Always,
everything,
especially the limited edition beers. They go on sale at a certain time. There's only so many measures of it. You've got to be in the queue. So I found myself in the queue for this beer, which was it was a Fuller's Special that had been aged in some sort of whiskey barrels or something about this.
So again, pretty local to where we are.
Absolutely, yeah. Biggest brewery in London. And I was like, well, why not? I've never had anything like this before, let's give it a go. And I tasted this stuff and it was just amazing, it just literally blew me away. So I went back again, and then I went back a third time as well. The queue was fairly short at that time, so I was managing to get in. It wasn't until the third time that I actually noticed on the pump clip it was about 9%.
Okay.
And then suddenly realised why I couldn't feel my feet, sort of thing. So that was probably where the whole beer journey started for me, was back at the Great British Beer Festival.
So how do you define a good beer? And is good a good enough term for a good beer? Because, there's got to be the spectrum of beer, infinite spectrum. From your first experience, that horrible Foster stuff, to your top one. What's the absolute must-have of a good beer?
Well, there's two ways to look at it. There's an often used phrase in the beer community that the best beer that you could drink is the one that's in your hand right now. That's the best beer in the world because it's there and you're drinking it. For me, a good beer is a beer that you want to go back to time and time again. It's a beer that you're happy to drink at any time of the year, that you'll dip into in the coldest days of winter and the warmest days of summer. Just one of those that just keeps you coming back for more.
How many of those do you have? Do you have that select couple?
I've probably got about 5 of those that are my absolute go-to beers.
So you're happy place?
Yes.
You're happy place?
My very happy place, yes.
It's good to hear. Would you like to name it? Should we? Okay, I'm not going to put the music in, but
I'll quite happily.
Number 5.
You've really put me on the spot now, trying to remember the 5. I'm going to go.
Let's go top 3.
Let's go top 3. Okay, that's much easier. I can do top 3. Number 1, and if there's anybody listening to this that listens to our podcast,
thanks.
Well, there will be, because we're going to promote the hell out of it, basically. So those people that are listening to this, that listen to our podcast, will know what I'm going to say now. It's a beer called Cannonball. It's produced by Magic Rock Brew Co, who are up in Huddersfield.
Yep.
It's 7.4%. It's an American IPA, and it's absolutely stunning. It's the beer that I will always buy over any other beer on the bar. Second to that, only just second to that, is by Thornbridge, and that's a beer called Halcyon, which is an Imperial IPA. Again, comes in at 7.4%, so it's a big beer, but it's a beer that needs to absolutely be drunk as fresh as possible.
Okay.
So they don't produce it that regularly. It's not one of their regular beers. But when they do produce it, when they put it into bottles, it's one of those things that you have to buy a case from the brewery and drink them within about 2 weeks. And then the final one, and there's a bit of a theme here, because all 3 of these breweries are from the same area of the country. So Magic Rock from Huddersfield, Thornbridge are from Bakewell, and then the third one is Buxton Brewery, and that's a beer called Axe Edge, which is again, it's an IPA, but it's an absolute stunning beer. It's a beer that I'll just go to time and time again.
So on the map of the UK, that's a big question. Where's the best beer produced? Are you pitching northeast? Because that's a big one. That's a burning question.
No comment. We've got listeners from all over the country.
That's fair enough. I mean, you've mentioned 3 from a particular part of the country. Obviously, there are there's fantastic competition, and actually, one of the best things I imagine about the UK market is divest.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, there are 70 breweries in London at the moment. Some of them are doing amazing stuff, absolutely amazing stuff. There's and I'm just going to name a few. So you've got Beavertown, who are making some absolutely stunning beers at the moment. They've just moved into a new facility in Tottenham How. They're one of the first breweries in the country that are now putting beers into cans. The future is all about cans, so it's all about getting your beer as fresh as possible in cans, and they're really championing that at the moment. You've then got Weirdbeard, who are based in West London, who are doing some amazing stuff with beer as well. And these are all guys that were featured on the show in the past. And then you've got the 5 breweries that live along the Bermondsey Beer Mile as well. So you've got 5 breweries based in railway arches in this mile stretch along Bermondsey, where one of them, the Colonel, is very much renowned as being kind of the beer mecca. You make your pilgrimage there on a Saturday and you enjoy their beers from their railway arch, and that's pretty much as good as you're going to get it. So there are great breweries all over the country. I think it's between London and that kind of Derbyshire, Dales, kind of Sheffield area, where some of the best beers are coming from. But as I say, you've got great beers coming out of Scotland and all other places as well.
I was going to say, yeah. Are there places, or what's on your list? What's the must-dos of the brewery around the UK? I guess. How many are left?
Other than the ones that we've mentioned, and it's interesting because the likes of Magic Rock, again, I've gone on record a number of times. I'm a massive Magic Rock fanboy. I think there's only one beer they've ever made that I didn't enjoy. And that's not just because I want to like their beers, it's because they're producing consistently good beers. The problem is that they're a very small brewery, so that they can only produce such a volume of beer, and they're looking to move. And so a lot of it becomes about availability of beers as well, and which breweries can make their beers most widely available to the markets. So yeah, I mean, other than the ones on that I've already mentioned, there are some breweries in the West Country that we've not yet explored on the show that are doing some great stuff. So there's Arbor Owls and there's Wild Beer that are doing some stuff over that way. There are some great traditional breweries in East Anglia that we want to cover, and then literally you could probably name any place in the UK and there's a brewery there. It's like that at the moment.
Do you think as it's still growing as a market?
Yeah.
I mean, is it more recently that it's becoming a boom again?
I think the last 18 months to 2 years, it's really started to explode again in terms of the number of breweries, and that's going right from, there are people that are home brewing now that are brewing beers in their kitchen that I would quite happily pay very, very good money for, and we've featured a number of those on the podcast before. So you're going right from that level to your macro breweries, which are literally one step up from a home brew where they're doing it in their shed, and then you've got your micros going right up to your likes of your Fullers and your Adnams, who are the big breweries but that are consistently producing quality beer.
Fantastic. So we've covered favourite beer. Favourite bear?
Favourite bear? Sooty.
Brilliant. Why?
Because
that was like that.
Just childhood memories.
As if you were prepared.
Childhood memories of Sooty.
Yeah.
I was taken to see Sooty when I was a very young child and remember having a great time.
Cracking time.
Yeah.
That's good. Favourite beard?
Favourite beard?
It's a difficult one.
There's a question. There are a lot of beards in breweries.
There's a lot of beards. Well, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Is the industry beard-ridden?
It is beard-ridden. There are some incredible beards.
Who's had the best beard that you've met in the beer industry, in the beer community?
It'd be one of the guys that jointly owns Weird Beard, obviously because of the name of their brewery.
Textbook.
He's got an incredible beard, plaits, all sorts.
Wow, it's all kicking off.
Proper beardy. But wow, favourite beard. I think I might just go for an easy answer. ZZ Top.
ZZ Top.
Every
Top
time.
Beard.
And there's two of them as well. So
double beard action.
Double beardage. Yeah.
Maximum beardage. Beautiful. You mentioned cans. Is beer actually better? You say as fresh as possible. Golden, fresh as possible. So
some beers as fresh as possible.
So
yeah.
not all.
No.
That's an interesting one. I was going to say, is it better in a can? Is it better straight from tap? How dependent is it on the actual beer itself?
It depends on the style of beer. So if you're talking about pale ale or an IPA, they're the beers that you want to drink as fresh as possible. So if they're available in a can, the phrase that's being thrown at the moment is they're like nano kegs. So they're this tiny little thing of amazingly fresh beer that you open it and you've got that fizz, and it's just like drinking it directly from the brewery as it's produced. So, but then there are some beers like some porters, some stouts, some barley wines that need to be aged and just need to be, I think the phrase, laid down like a fine wine.
Really?
Yeah, which was something that I couldn't get my head around when I first started getting into beer. I was like, what? You mean I don't drink it straight away? I don't just open it and neck it? No, keep it. For how long? Until it's ready. How will I know when it's ready? Doesn't tell me.
We need systems.
Yeah, so no, it very much depends on the style of beer and how it's being offered to you. So you've got bottles, you've got cans, you've got kegs, you've got casks, and they all bring something different to the beer style.
What's the best temperature? not necessarily the outside temperature, but the best temperature for beer.
Again, it depends on the style of beer. Your traditional English bitters, your stouts, porters, room temperature, so that you get in the flavour. In fact, a lot of people would say room temperature for everything, because that's where you're going to get your maximum flavour. But there are some beers that you just can't beat when they're chilled. If it's in a can, it needs to be chilled.
It's the golden rule.
A golden rule, yeah.
Canned beer, chilled.
Yeah.
Done. Fantastic. Obviously, you mentioned Birmingham, and there's a number of, actually right across the river, down the river, there's a number of fantastic London pubs.
Yep.
Have you got, again, we'll dip into the top 3 territory, or at least a couple of favourites?
A couple of favourite pubs?
Yeah. Especially, maybe not even London-centric, but that you guys, throughout the podcast, and, those that you've just been to, you thought, they're doing the right thing there. And again, the pub industry in the UK has been on the decline, so there's obviously an interest within the community to keep pubs going. And, it's where it came from years and years and years ago, from the origins. But there's got to be a few crackers out there you could recommend.
There are some amazing bars out there. There's a chain of bars called the Craft Beer Company that have got about 5 or 6 outlets in London now. Which, in terms of if people are looking to get into a great range of beer, they're kind of your gateway pubs. So that's you can go there. The bar staff are incredibly knowledgeable. They'll give you tasters of the beer. They'll work with you to find out what you like. And as I say, there's about 5 or 6 of them in London now. Other than that, for your real hardcore beer aficionados, it's your Brewdog chain. So there are currently 3 of those in London. There's a new one opening up soon in Clapham. They've got branches in Leeds, Manchester, Newcastle, and all the big cities, and they're just growing and growing, and they're expanding, and they've now got Bottle Shop and all sorts, and that's where you're going to find your kind of proper craft wanker beers. That's kind of the collective noun that we use for ourselves, obviously stolen from In-Betweeners and the whole briefcase wanker thing, but the craft wankers will be hanging out in a Brewdog bar.
Okay. I was going to say Brewdogs, you talk about it a fair bit. It seems that you do the news on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
It would appear Brewdog appears quite frequently.
They're always doing something to promote themselves. There's a fine line with Brewdog between those who think they're simply a marketing company that happens to brew beer, right, and there are those that think they're a brewery that have really got a really good marketing agency behind them. I think if you can love or hate their marketing, because most of the time it's all over the top. Yeah. But you can't argue with the fact that they do turn out consistently good beers, and they've certainly got the model right in terms of their most recent bar that opened up in Shepherd's Bush. They've got 40 taps in there now.
It's a proper bar. It's
a proper bar, and there's always an amazing selection in there as well. And the staff in there again are just really friendly and knowledgeable, and they'll help people. If people don't know what, they walk into somewhere and they see 40 taps. I remember the first time I walked in, I was like, shit, I don't know what I'm. Where's the Fosters? Where's the Carlin? Where's the stuff I'm used to seeing? You're not going to see that sort of stuff in Brewdog, but the staff will work with you to identify the sort of beers that you like to drink.
It's a tough job.
Yeah, but they're all trained to do that. They go through training. Brewdog put all their staff through training to be able to share that sort of knowledge with the punters that are coming in through the door.
The ultimate snack for beers, it would be. I'm only going to limit this to 2.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good, because I can only give 2. It's either a pork pie or it's pig fat, pork scratchings.
Scratchings.
Yeah.
Just a handful of pig fat, please.
And the crispier and the hairier, the better.
What a funny ass.
Yeah. Just give me pig butt, fried pig butt.
Which version of pie? Because pie isn't just pie. Yeah, I've not come across a pie podcast yet, or a piecast.
Okay,
I can't dick around this.
It's either the traditional pork pie.
Ooh, I wasn't expecting that. I was thinking,
no, traditional pork pie and beer.
Yeah,
perfect combination. Although recently there have been some, following the trend that seems to be you can put pulled pork with anything. Pulled pork pies.
Pulled pork pie.
Yeah, pulled pork pie. Pulled. Yeah, they're pretty special as well.
So pork pie.
Yeah.
or some pig ass.
Or just anything that's basically
Pig related.
from a pig. Yeah.
Pig and beer.
Pig and beer. You can't beat it.
It's the future.
Yes. Yeah.
Go out there, get yourself a pig farm,
Yeah.
get a brewery,
And away you
on
go.
site, you're off for the
right.
winner.
Yeah.
Genius.
And always make sure there's bacon for breakfast because it's the ultimate hangover
It's
kit.
the only option.
Yeah.
Well, it really is. The ultimate beer to accompany curry. That's a contentious one. I appreciate. Can we go? Should we do it? No, I'm going for number one. No.
Thornbridge Jaipur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top curry beer
Top curry beer.
every time.
Every time.
Are they exporting it outwards into the curry regions?
I have no idea. Possibly. It's certainly one of their most popular beers.
Yeah.
It's widely available in supermarkets and bars.
It is. That's good. It's
Yeah.
internationally understood that curry and beer belong together.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What other things other than pork ass and pulled pork pies?
Yeah.
What else could be teamed up with a good beer?
Anything at the moment. There's beer and food matching is a big thing now.
So you tasted London recently. Was there a lot of that going on? Did you get along to any of those foodie things?
Just went for the beer.
You went for the beer?
Yeah,
Right.
just straight into the Pilsner Hotel tent, straight back out again.
Job done, see you later.
Didn't even bother about any of the food. Just
Michelle who?
Yeah. Who are you? No, not interested.
Niche joke there for Michelle from Junior fans.
There are lots of events that are put on now that are all about beer and food matching. So and there are people out there that make a living on matching those sorts of things. I'm not a massive foodie, so I'm like, well, beer goes with anything. But,
what is the phrase? So you're foodie, people like food. You said it's
craft wankers.
Craft wankers.
Yeah.
That's the phrase.
#craft wanker. Yeah.
Internationally understood.
We do affiliate ourselves with that phrase as well. We don't find it offensive in any way, shape or form.
Really?
No.
I'm not sure I could get away with that if I walk up to someone.
I don't think you could walk up to them and call them a craft wanker.
You're a craft wanker.
I think you can get away with calling people it on Twitter.
Okay. Well, it's further away, isn't it?
Yeah. You're always at an arm's length sort of thing, aren't you? Yeah.
Brilliant. Podcast. So what's obviously live. Where else does the future look? Beer o'clock.
At the moment, we're looking to season 5, which, as I mentioned earlier, will run from September to December.
Yeah.
A theme of Italian beers running through that one, and will be kind of interspersed with just other beers that we're keen to review or that we get sent and we're asked to review. We always leave a couple of open gaps just in case those sorts of things come up. And then we'll just we'll probably again just start taking stock towards the end of November, looking at what we're going to do in 2015. We've always said that we'll do it for as long as we enjoy it, and at the moment we're enjoying it. I don't think we've peaked yet. I think we've still got a long way ahead of us. I think there's still things that we both want to do with the show. We've started introducing interviews with brewers, which people are enjoying. We've done a few other interviews with kind of home brewers and people that are in the beer industry. We have regular guests on now as well, reviewing with us, and that's just keeping it all fresh for us. And it's just about, I think when we get to a point where people are like, well, we've heard it all before, then that's maybe a time to stop it, but I don't see that point coming just yet.
Where can we find you?
We're on Twitter @BeerO'ClockShow. Is the main place. Website beeroclockshow.co.uk, and we're also on Instagram @BeerO'ClockShow now, where we encourage people to send us pictures of beer porn.
Hashtag beer porn.
Hashtag beer porn, because it's recently learned by listening to another podcast that apparently on Instagram it's all about the hashtags.
Yes.
That's how you find shit on Instagram.
Shit, yes.
Hashtag shit, yeah. Not gone there yet. Maybe hashtag weasel shitting coffee beans beer. But yeah, on Instagram it's hashtag beer porn, hashtag beer o'clock, or hashtag cheers guys, because we've started running this new Prize This Prize every week on the show, where we kind of just mention what we think has been the best picture on Instagram of the week using the hashtag Cheers Guys. So those are our 3 platforms where you can get us on. Yeah.
And then to download the podcast?
Download the podcast, we're on iTunes. You can download from there. You can subscribe to us on the Stitcher app, or you can download or listen to directly on the website.
Fantastic. That pretty much wraps up, I think.
Excellent.
How do we finish a traditional... How do you finish the Beer O'Clock Show podcast?
Just by me normally saying it's been the highlight of my week.
Yeah?
Yes. So this has been the highlight of my week.
Fantastic. It's Wednesday.
Yes.
So you've got a few days left.
Excellent.
Best of luck.
I'm peaking early.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Fantastic. And Beerhund at Beerhund.
At Beerhund for me. Sometimes beer related, sometimes offensive, sometimes random tweets. And for Mark, you can follow him at Roku.
Fantastic.
ROKKU, as he always has to spell it out, just in case people don't get it.
We have the same problem.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Brilliant. No, I appreciate your time.
Brilliant.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. It's been great.
We'll crack on. Cheers.